Mothers and mother figures are essential. Hot take. They're the first apartment you live in, the sweetest landlord you'll ever have. And I say that even after the surprise eviction.
One last push, and we're done.
Mothers aren't only valuable when you're a kid growing up, but even as an adult too. Hot take. I mean, if they weren't, why would all those Martians try to kidnap them? Make it make sense. It's a far cry from the truth whenever someone thinks the usefulness of a mother ends after childhood. Cause, spoiler alert, everything gets so much more difficult after 18. It's like you pass the threshold of teenagedom and you enter into the 6th level of hell, battling demons named seasonal depression in a shitty housing market, and many more in this sick action RPG we call Life as a Legal Adult. That's a time when you need a mom the most. Some people really think that after high school or college or even after your wedding, the role of a mom is turned in. Like, yup, you can retire the jersey now. But truthfully, most people are pretty glad to have someone there for them after failing high school, dropping out of college, or getting a divorce. Notice the asterisk. Some moms are pretty bad during a crisis. Mother figures are important, and animation has always made that very clear through representation of moms from different walks of life, like Nicole Watterson, Nicole Williams, and Nicki Minaj. Moms can keep a family together or be the main reason they get driven apart. Most times in stories, they play a key role in the main character's life. Sometimes the impact even comes from the grave. In this case, they might be the main reason why a top-rated private Wall Street defense lawyer was turned from a man to a rat.
Gary the Rat. This just sucks.
We'll be meeting a character that deeply depends on their mother and is quite possibly one of the most wholesome mother-son relationships ever conceived in a cartoon.
No, Mother, I can't come see you today. I know today's your birthday, but to be honest, I thought you would have died by now. Listen, Mom, I gotta go. Just tell the nurses to roll you over occasionally. That should help reduce the number of bed sores. Gotta go. Listen, Mom, the news is starting. I gotta go. No, I can't come see you tomorrow. I have to work. Well, just tell the nurses that you're not supposed to get a catheter, and I'm sure they'll pull it right out. Gotta go. You've just become such a burden in my life that I feel it's best not to even think about you. Oh, hello, Mother. No, I can't come see you tomorrow. Well, I realize you wanted to pick out your burial plot, but I've always intended to have you cremated. Mom, I told you I'm busy. Please stop calling. Well, if the fire reaches your room, crawl to the window and hurl yourself out of it. I have to go now. Jesus. No, Mother, I can't come see you today. I realize it's your birthday, but it's my first day back in court since the change, and I have to be prepared. Mom, the nurses aren't trying to kill you. I told them to tie you up. Hello, Mrs. Andrews. Death calling. Yes, the Grim Reaper. It looks like I'll be seeing you today. Mom, it's me, Gary. No, I was just hoping to scare you.
Andrews, one more thing. When you talk to the head shrinker, don't start whining about your mommy and your daddy. Get right to the giant rat stuff.
Hello and welcome. Happy Mother's Day to moms, grandmoms, stepmoms, baby mamas, godmoms, and the motherly figures and friend groups. My name is Witty G, and I talk about odd, obscure, and nostalgic cartoons on the internet, attempting to find out what made them special to begin with. And this one's about a rat lawyer.
A rat for a lawyer. Who'd have thunk?
Gary the Rat was an adult sitcom that aired on Spike TV in 2003, lasting for one season. Created by the writer-producers Mark and Rob Cullen, produced by GramNet and Cheyenne Enterprises, then distributed by Viacom. It started as a series of 3-minute episodes created using Flash software. These episodes then exclusively appeared on the Media Trip website, even featuring Flash games where the episodes were hosted to keep the viewer occupied while they loaded. Because it was the 2000s and all. But here we have an example of a webisodic adult sitcom turned full-fledged animated series. Something that happens even more to this day, with a clear example being Hell of a Boss. Even the lead voice actor saw the benefits of this new medium by stating, "The idea of staying current in my mind is very important to me as an artist. I'm not a dinosaur anymore, but I'm certainly not fluent with a lot of what's going on. I'm thrilled about working on the cutting edge of entertainment. A lesson all artists who wish to stay relevant have to take heed to." Gary the Rat stars famed actor Kelsey Grammer, who commented on his anticipation for the role saying, "I'm very excited about The rat. What a quote. That's a sentence usually saved for rodent fanatics or an eager shredder awaiting revenge.
Mr. Shredder! How long have you been standing there?
Long enough to witness your failure.
The main character of Gary Andrews is arrogant, money-focused, self-serving, manipulative, judgmental, witty, blunt, unkind, and shallow. So all of the attributes you would expect from a lawyer. And it's these same characteristics that I think led to Gary's abrupt transformation. And the show kind of alludes to that as well.
You see, I turned into a rat overnight, and if I don't change back by the end of the day, I'm going to lose my job.
There is a story of King Brahmadatta, whose evil son was reincarnated into a water rat. Maybe there is a lesson to be learned there.
And why is that?
The prince was greedy, rich, powerful, cruel, and vain.
Yeah, and the problem lies?
He was paying for all the evils in his previous life by living his next life as a rodent.
Okay, we're just not connecting here. Is there some sort of incantation or potion with Eye of Newt that I could purchase that might change me back?
Nothing remains without change.
So, you're saying there is a way for me to change back?
Yes. You must become the change you want to see.
Okay, no answers here.
Shit, even the opening says.
Gary Andrews is a calculating, ruthless, and unscrupulous Wall Street attorney. He has attained power, wealth, and prestige. But in winning the rat race, Gary has gone too far. Now he must face his most difficult challenge.
Maybe I better call in sick.
As well as the astute observation of this inebriated man.
Do you think that maybe some cosmic being is throwing you a karmic monkey wrench in order to show you that winning a rat race should not be man's ultimate goal in life?
That's just the booze talking. I don't think I'll ever find out what made me like this.
He did kill a kid though, so I'm not sure how much we should really trust his opinion.
I was once a doctor.
Really? What happened?
I killed a kid. Anyway.
The show tries to tackle Gary's feelings towards ostracization, being that he's a giant rat in a normal-sized man's world.
The taxi! Taxi! The taxi! Racist.
I know exactly how you feel. If you're even a little bit different, people put a label on you. Oh, he's black, or he's a 6-foot rat.
The show takes moments to have Gary attempt to empathize with others who have been ostracized by society, and teaching a rich lawyer empathy might be more difficult than teaching Floyd Mayweather to read confidently and without so much repetition.
This is a special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you can read one full page of a Harry Potter book, nigga, I'll give $750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to. Fuck the bucket of ice, man.
Oftentimes, Gary's true nature reveals itself, and he returns to his cunning and deceitful ways, attributes often associated with this thing. The program points out the scumminess of these types of lawyers who defend billion-dollar companies, the tobacco industry, rich gangsters, organized crime syndicates, and pharmaceutical juggernauts, as well as commenting on the way capitalism plays a big part in the courtroom, as Gary is solely doing these jobs for prestige, money, and power.
This was a landmark victory, Mr. Andrews. How do you feel?
I believe I can speak for my clients, Southern Tobacco, and all the brain-dead smokers and tobacco-chewing idiots out there when I say, long live deep pockets.
The show depicts instances when the power of wealth directly intersects with the justice system. Like when Gary was hired for top dollar to defend a high-ranking mafioso as a special favor to his boss.
Anthony Stiletto is one of the most high-profile mafia bosses ever to run this city. The guy gets in more trouble than a busload of priests on the way to a Boy Scout jamboree. The man's a gold mine, and I want him.
Gary then successfully manages to get the guy off, using malicious tactics and implied language.
I have only one question for you today, and I would like you to answer it honestly and without conjecture. And when you answer it, I want you to look into the eyes and to the faces of the jurors that sit in judgment of you here today. Like juror number 3, Miss Emily Thompson. Miss Thompson is a single mother of 2 has a home at 2205 West Chambers Street and drives a white Ford Focus license plate E5WXXK.
Did you say 2205?
West Chambers Street, yes.
Objection, Your Honor! It is very obvious that Mr. Andrews is trying to intimidate the jury with this kind of information.
Your Honor, Mr. Stiletto is on trial for his life. His fate lies in these people's hands. I just want them to understand how important their decision will be.
Overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The show directly points to the fears some members of professional crime organizations evoke in the jury. So what we see is a four-way intersection between fear, corruption, power, and wealth. Luckily, this scene is unrealistic and would not happen in court, at least exactly like this. The show paints justice with gray tones laced with corruption, instead of relying on a black and white perception of good and evil that can sometimes be portrayed in court-centric episodes or series. Also, do not go into the show expecting accurate trials or procedures. It's not trying perfectly to emulate a courtroom.
That is why there is no possible reason Lee Harvey Oswald could have acted alone.
So with the themes of injustice, corruption, capitalism, and animalistic mutations, what demographic do you think this show was aimed at? What network might have been lucky enough to receive a quick-witted, cynical, and mildly introspective show like this? Spike TV was an aftermath of the rebrand that occurred in June 2003 of the channel that was once known as the Nashville Network. Spike TV was made by men for men. And several shows from this network have been discussed very thoroughly online, from Mansers to Deadliest Warriors to 1,000 Ways to Die. Like your cousin with a crack addiction, Spike TV was always amped and ready to go. Well, whenever it wasn't in a legal battle with Spike Lee over its name. Looks like these guys could have used Gary the Rat in the courtroom. He's the best in the city, you know.
My God, Andrews. I had no idea you were so vicious.
Just doing what's best for the firm, sir.
You were like an animal up there, Andrews. An animal.
I am an animal, Mr. Harrison.
While Spike TV has a full roster of live-action entertainment, the heads of the company knew the network was missing something.
Dudes love tits, sports, and explosions, but I know we're missing something. I can't quite put my finger on it.
We always thought this was a trinity, boss.
No, that's what we always assumed based on the prophecy, but perhaps we were wrong. Yes. It was never a trinity. It was a quaternity.
My God, what have you found?
Tits, sports, explosions, and the missing piece. Cartoons. The four horsemen of the Guy-pocalypse. 4 gods to usher in a new millennium.
That's right, cartoons were the missing component. So Spike TV gathered 3 shows to be put together in this new animation block. One was the infamous Ren and Stimpy Adult Party cartoon. Next was Stripperella, the show idea that Stan Lee allegedly stole from a dancer named Janet Clover, and Gary the Rat. One of these things ain't like the other. No, not that one. No, not that one. Yes, the one the video is about. The critics hated it, with one headline reading, "There isn't much funny about Gary the Rat." Yeah, they didn't hold back. The same writer for this article wrote, "Gary is virtually laugh-free. Yikes."
Have you tried to talk to him? Or hit him?
If catheter jokes are your cup of tea, Gary's for you. I feel attacked. Critics claimed Gary wasn't too different from Kelsey Grammer's most notorious character, Frasier, listing the rat bastard lawyer as a derivative counterpart to the much more well-liked radio psychiatrist. I don't even know how accurate this criticism is, nor am I going to watch Cheers or Frasier for the Mother's Day Gary the Rat episode on my channel. I'm not doing it. But for the fans of those shows, let me know your thoughts on this take. Other critics said it seemed like a bit of a train wreck as it slides down one tangent after another, as if 3 7-minute episodes were stitched together to fill the half-hour block. And I could see how it felt like that, since the series originates from webisodes structured this way. But I don't think this is an accurate description of the TV show, nor of the first episode. But one of the major criticisms brought against the show was that it wasn't a good fit for the audience that the network cultivated, with Phil Gallo of Variety seeing the writing on the wall far before the end was evident, stating, "And while Pam Anderson voiced Stripperella should nab ratings for no reason other than the drool factor, Gary the Rat is likely to struggle as the appeal of an animated legal rat in Manhattan doesn't appear to be particularly high." And it's kind of hard to disagree with that. Where are the tits? Parts of this show are pretty funny and sharp-witted.
Now that JP is out of my life, I was hoping that you and I might get together.
Well, Amanda, that's a very flattering offer, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to refuse. You see, you've been so spoiled and defiled by that headless galoot back there that to see you socially, it would be a huge step backwards for a man like me.
But you're a rat.
And you're a mess, I hope you understand.
And I feel like it was definitely placed on the wrong network, where those attributes were probably not acknowledged or respected by most of the audience. But don't get me wrong, this isn't like Arrested Development, a series that was ahead of its time for its humor, storytelling, and pacing, but was placed on a network that hated its guts in its pursuit of greater televised entertainment. This is not that. Gary the Rat has a lot of other issues that keep it from becoming the greatest version of itself. It was also just hindered by the Spike TV network and its mostly brain-dead audience, because parts of this show really make me chuckle.
So now really, what the hell was that all about?
Well, Mr. Harrison, your son's a psychopath. You thought about getting him some professional help?
Oh, so you're going to try to tell me how to be a daddy now? You're a giant rat freak, for God's sakes. Mind your own business.
But there are other parts that I wish had more explanation, reason, or just purpose. Let's hop into a few of those. There's Bud, the cheese delivery guy, who receives constant insults and put-downs from Gary.
Hi!
This is $5. I want you to take it, buy a tack hammer, and hit yourself in the head with it until you forget me.
Bud doesn't help his case by looking and sounding like he's suffering from constant concussions. Not to mention, he thinks this giant rat is a giant dog.
Giant dog, what's the good word?
Your word for the day, Bud, is flagitious.
I know that word. It means gassy.
It means highly offensive in character and, in your case, hygiene.
So maybe he just needs a new prescription, or to lay off his namesake. The insults Gary delivers are incredibly crude and hilarious. I just find them aimless as well. These interactions are just for fun, and don't often affect the story or Gary's whole rat situation. Throughout the series, we find there are more people like Bud, that are either just as idiotic or worse. I'm surprised there wasn't an episode that took advantage of this, by having Gary be forced into a situation where he's surrounded by these awful people. That's a rich asshole's worst nightmare, being stuck in a room with moronic working class people. But instead, this reoccurring character offers little purpose in Gary's overall story and becomes simply a bit.
Hi!
Another problem is Gary moves with little purpose in pursuit of finding his manhood again. Gary doesn't really care about being a rat past the first and last episodes. It's not something he's working to solve. I mean, if it was me, I'd be trying to fix that ASAP, but he doesn't give a shit.
I don't care what any of them say. If I'm going to be a rat, I'll be a rat on my own terms. And to hell with anybody that has a problem with that.
Which I feel like should have been the main thesis of this story. Gary is turned into a rat because he acts like a metaphorical one, so he needs to relearn empathy and humanity to return to his human body. Yet, episodes feel unmotivated towards reaching this goal.
I don't care what any of them say.
This isn't to say that the ones that drift from that aren't entertaining, but it does make the series feel pointless. This could have been solved by giving purpose to these interactions with people Gary sees of lower status, like Bud, those with leprosy, black people, single mothers with 8 kids, ugly people, and even his own mother. make the cases he has in court mean something to him, or at least the world around him. They hardly affect Gary Andrews or his relationships. The closest instance we get is in episode 12, Divorce, when Gary's boss is getting divorced from his wife, and somehow she convinces Gary to be her attorney in the upcoming case. This is all spurred on by the awful treatment Gary receives from his boss on the regular basis, due to the minuscule issue that Gary is a
giant rat freak, for God's sake,
as well as the physical appeal of the boss's soon-to-be ex-wife. You would think this would have drastic effects on the relationship a boss and an employee have. However, this is all resolved in the end, with the divorce being avoided and Gary's future plans with his boss's wife being destroyed. And despite the backstabbing nature of Gary's actions, he manages to keep his job at the firm. I guess lawyers just respect someone who's not afraid to fight dirty. Something that really slows things down in this cartoon is this exterminator character, because you just can't make a good show without a catchphrase.
I know, right?
He is cartoonishly incompetent, and he's a filler character who occasionally kills someone relevant to the plot. You would think that that kind of impact on the story would negate the filler part of the description, but somehow, this show manages to create a character that is simultaneously incredibly relevant, yet totally irrelevant.
I know, right? Man, shut your bitch ass up.
This guy's been described by the critics as a generic Looney Tunes bad guy, and I couldn't have said it better myself. Arguably, he does fill the niche for the type of comedy this network is known for. Bonus round for the problems this show has. There are these dream sequences that aren't really funny but are just disturbing and off-putting. I like them conceptually, but man, they don't really make you laugh.
Chugga chugga choo choo. Chugga chugga choo choo.
There's a parody of Catch Me If You Can in the list of episodes for some reason. It's also the whole trope of this guy's impersonating my life and slowly replacing me. There's this recurring storyline concerning an angry tenant in the building who hires the Looney Tunes exterminator to kill the Rat Man, since the tenant doesn't like the whole 6-foot rat problem. And I mean, would you? You'd report this motherfucker to someone, right? Or at least ask for lower rent. There's also a running joke about his wife being a corn star, but we never see her, so it's just a tease. Where are the tits? This is just a recurring joke with no payoff or anything.
Nice. So you want to invite me in so we could take a look at those snapshots of your wife I was telling you about?
Believe it or not, this show can be funny.
Objection, Your Honor.
But it also has a lot of baggage that hinders it from being that all the time. It's comedic when it focuses on Gary's manipulative nature, when it shows his disregard for understanding people who are less fortunate than him, or when he sees himself as greater than them simply due to what he's accomplished. Gary's inhumanity is hilarious. When his boss spices up a scene with his charm, it's phenomenal.
Here you go, Judge. It's a bear claw.
When Gary is in conflict about the origin of his ratness, it's compelling.
And if I don't change back into a human in the next few hours, I'm going to lose my job. I came to you because I need answers now. Is this psychosomatic? Is this a manifestation of stress? Is this about my oral fixation?
Do you have flying dreams?
I have cats chasing me dreams.
When Gary tries to pursue the morally right thing, but ends up giving up and returns to being a shitbag, it's close to being something worth watching.
Hamster? Hamster, you say? I'm no hamster, I'm a rat. Purebred, well-spoken, highly pedigreed rat. And my name is Gary!
I just wish that when those moments of genuine intrigue showed up, they had more purpose, more impact on this big, sad New York rat man. The elements that do work for this show only do so because Gary is an awful person whose perspective is so devoid of empathy that it's entertaining, and a lot of that awful attitude stems from his mommy issues.
No, I am not a mama's boy.
We're going to learn how to love your mom like a rat bastard lawyer. There are some wacky episodes in this series. There's the one where Gary defends the tobacco company against a blind guy who has cancer.
You saw the Surgeon General's warning on each and every pack.
I'm blind.
Excuses! I submit that you have no self-control whatsoever, that you repeatedly have shown no ability to curb any of your appetites, that you are an alcoholic, a degenerate gambler, and you are syphilitic due to constant fornicating with prostitutes.
That's
not true.
And you're an anti-Semite.
There's the one where Gary defends a gangster who's definitely murdered people, and that episode leads to him marrying a fish person.
Why?
Okay, I don't know if she's a fish, in all honesty. Like, I have not confirmed that. For all I know, she could just be a regular girl with gills, okay? And no shame to girls with gills. They deserve love too.
See that? No worries. Now, why don't you take off your veil and let your fiancé have a good look at you?
Dear God, what the hell is it?
She's got a bit of a skin problem.
You think? And what the hell are those? Are those gills?
Don't know what those are, but the doctor's been treating her with vitamin E.
Here's the one where no one wants to date a rat, but Gary needs a date to his boss's party.
You're a rat. You're a rat. You're a rat.
Oh, this just sucks.
Not even a woman with 8 kids will date him. But that time, it's kind of cool. It's not because he's a rat. It's because...
I'm not Jewish.
You lied to me?
No, I just didn't feel the need to tell you.
That's the same as lying.
Not really. I would have told you I was a Hindu bat boy for the Yankees if that would have gotten you here.
I can't believe you're not Jewish. Ugh, I can't see you anymore.
You don't want to see me because I'm not Jewish?
Exactly.
But I'm a rat. Hello?
No, you're a rat bastard.
There's the one with this line.
You're gay.
Yeah, and you're a rat. Who's worse off?
That's a tough one.
There's the one where Gary weaponizes SA.
Why?
That one may have to have its own recap, but despite all of those phenomenal choices, we're doing the one where he loses his mommy. Yeah, because this is supposed to be like a Mother's Day episode, so you guys can watch this with your mom for the holiday, which is a very normal way to spend your Mother's Day. I can't imagine your grandmother or your stepmom wanting to do anything better than watching me talk about a big-ass New York rat. We open up on a dream sequence, slowly zooming in on the intricacies of the rat man's body, zooming into cells, the mitochondria, DNA, all just to have Gary awake with the cure for cancer.
I think I just cured cancer. I'll write it down in the morning.
Hi, I'm the blind lady of justice, and I got the scale to prove it. Whoops, wrong one. I'm gonna be popping in every now and then to give some actual education. But disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. I'm blindfolded, for Christ's sake. Would a lawyer walk into a courtroom like this? I don't think so. So, first tip. This title is a reference to a piece of art. It's called A Treachery of Images. It's a surrealist art piece that intends to make the viewers question their own reality. Is it a pipe? Or is it a painting of a pipe? Not sure what that has to do with this episode, but anyway.
One title sequence later, we find out that Gary is on the way to a judges conference and is avidly avoiding scheduling a time to meet up with his mom in person.
Friday. How's Never? Does Never work for you? Oh, mother, of course I don't care. It's taking you this long to figure that one out?
What a loving son. She even says she's never gonna call him again because of the awful way he talks to her. Gary doesn't take this seriously, which is only provoking the universe into having something drastic happen to her. So who's really to blame? Kidnapper or universe provoker? We pan over to the courtroom where this attorney, Frank, lets us know what this case is all about.
This construction site is spewing carcinogens onto the unsuspecting public.
Maybe a little.
Gary calls out this guy for going after a big company for a payday, despite the intentions of this innocent corporation to try and make the city a better place. Then it gets worse.
I say a hundy makes all this nonsense go away.
A bribe. Mr. Andrews, I am outraged.
Looking for 4 zeros?
Bingo.
This guy isn't getting the memo that this judge is swayed by zeros, not heroes, and attempts to appeal to the judge's emotions. Talking about how the kids will benefit from not breathing in toxic fumes. I'm not even sure if he's correct about that. Does he have any reputable sources from kids benefiting from clean air? I don't think so. Here's what Gary has to say.
Perhaps that's exactly what these children need. Instead of playing games like hide and seek and dodgeball, the youngsters would be forced into activities that might enrich their lives, like reading and, dare I say, spelling.
We do need better spellers, and I did love a heated game of dodgeball.
Somehow, this functions as a valid argument.
Gentlemen, both of you have valid arguments. You're a moron!
And before they can be excused, this guy's nose falls off. Yup, it just... right in the middle of the conference. This is definitely in the top 5 most embarrassing things to do in front of a judge. We're pan over to the perpetually ill ward, where Johnny Bugs the Exterminator and his cat Boots are concocting their latest plan. The scheme is to kidnap Gary's mom, put her in a box, and use her as bait to lure Gary into a trap.
Now.
I know, right?
We then move across town to the firm Frank works for. Boy, we cheat him. And how? Concise and effective. We find out that Frank has just been taken off the case, and listen to the reason why.
Frank, it's come to my attention that you have leprosy.
That's a lie.
Leprosy is an infectious bacterial disease, man. That's not the type of lifestyle we can support here at Boy We Cheatham and How.
I can change.
You've changed too much already, Frank. I'm sorry, I have to let you go.
Frank denies the claims that he has leprosy, and I want to believe him, but his finger falls off. The nose thing was bad, and it could be excused, but this, I'd be stupid not to acknowledge the signs. Frank says he's gonna sue, but Walter has some more cutting words to offer.
I'll sue you.
Well, you go ahead and try. Not one lawyer has the nerve to take this firm on or to side with a freak leper.
Damn, that's like textbook discrimination. It would have been great to get that on record. Remember, if your boss is saying something discriminatory in the workplace, record it. It might help you in the future. At the Montana apartment complex, Gary expects a call from his mother, only to be surprised by the sweet, succulent tone of a fellow lawyer.
No, I am not a mama's boy.
We find out that Gary is wanted first thing in the office for something new outside of the construction case. Another phone call comes through, but it's not his mother.
I'm sorry, there's no Adolf Oliver nipple here. I pee freely? Oh, damn juveniles.
This boy is going to be crying himself to sleep tonight. At Johnny Bug's hideout, he explains the plan more specifically and describes how he's going to kill that rat bastard. It's a hammer this time, if you were curious.
Now.
I know, right?
Meanwhile, on the street, everyone is talking to their mothers on the phone, and Gary feels super left out. This scene is really sad. It almost made me cry.
Where are you, Mother?
The surprise case is with Frank, who has come to Gary Andrews as a last resort. And Gary breaks down why no lawyer would want to take this case.
Hello? You have leprosy. They don't want you near them.
You, most of all, should know what it's like to be treated like
A leper? No. Treat me like a 6-foot rat.
Frank tries to appeal to Gary's humanity, only to find out Gary gave that up a long time ago in exchange for proficiency in the law. Or is that another piece of art? The boss comes in and confuses leper for leopard.
Didn't you read the office rules? It expressly read, no big game cat.
Something I definitely did as a kid, and maybe as an adult, don't judge me. After hearing Frank's plight, the boss gets interested in the case. He's got beef. Well, liver. He started at the opposing firm way back in the day, and according to him, there was an incident with a piece of liver smothered in onion.
Till they canned me for an incident with a piece of liver. It was smothered in onions. How could I help myself?
You can piece together what you think happened. I refuse to. The gross stuff is saved for the grossology content. So the boss falls for the whole, I've been an outsider before, so therefore I understand what it feels like to be an outsider now routine. Just some real sappy bullshit. He's taking the case alongside Gary, hoping to get back in the field and get up close and personal with his revenge.
Gonna exact my revenge, if you know what I mean.
Sir?
No one calls me a liver freak. No one!
Gary is forced to get involved.
This is a deposition. Deposition occurs before the start of a civil trial. This is where the attorneys get the opportunity to question the other side's witnesses and gather the facts about the case.
During the deposition, Gary tries to pin Walter on the obvious discrimination we saw, but he's being rather slippery.
And when you hired Frank, you didn't know he was a leper.
No.
And so when you found out, you became outraged and fired him. Is that correct?
Well, you're putting words in my mouth.
Nitwit.
Baldy.
Pay attention to this part especially, about Frank's bad results with former cases.
I hired Frank because I thought he was a good lawyer. I fired him because he didn't do the job well. He blew a couple important cases, so I canned him. Simple as that.
Walter then says this.
Frank being a leper didn't factor at all in your decision to let him go.
No, I love lepers. Some of my best friends are lepers.
Something we all know to be false. Gary sees an opening and tries to strike.
But you wouldn't want your son turning out to be one, isn't that correct? Well?
Don't rush me.
Stomping Walter for a moment. Eventually, we do get a response.
No, I wouldn't want my son to turn out as a leper. Not because there's anything wrong with lepers. It's just that it's a harder life.
Precisely my point.
Did I miss something?
We also get a little bit more info on what happened with the liver.
Dirtball.
Poopy pants.
That was alleged. Never proven. Never.
Just as the boss answers, Gary gets a very important phone call. Finds out his scar-covered mother has been kidnapped and is still as annoying as usual. After hearing her voice, Gary disconnects, ignoring the deal the kidnapper was trying to set up. He finds that his boss and Walter have gotten into a fight. Operation We Beat 'Em and How has begun. At Frank's crib, he has some cheese for the rat. He really knows how to host a guest, how to make a house feel like a home. The cheese is delicious, but it comes with a little bit of context.
I got them from a leper on 3rd that has the best deli. You ever eat there?
No, nor will I ever.
Would you eat cheese from a leper if it was the best cheese in the entire world? No? Okay, you're a bigot.
That's no good.
Next, Frank talks about his favorite aria, cause now we're talking about opera.
It was during that sorrow that love wore big rubber boots. A voice filled with harmony that said, "Change the toilet plunger. I am a bowl of soup. I am love. Love, love."
And somehow all of this is related to...
It's quite obvious that the singer's talking about her mother who gave her life for her.
I don't get it. I guess opera is just too upper class for me. I'm gonna just stick to Russian reggae. So after not hearing from his mom all day, we start to see that Gary is not doing well. He seems a bit off.
No, I am not a mama's boy.
His sentences are more erratic, and he's even putting his phone up to his ear just to hope she calls. Textbook mama's boy.
Where are you, Mother? Where are you? Don't you know I have a big trial today? Like a baseball player who wears the same socks. I need you to call me as part of my preparation ritual. If not, who knows what may happen in there. Call me, Mother.
In the court, we find out that Walter sought out Frank to work in his firm way early on, and while practicing under Walter, Frank began to develop an admiration for his boss, citing these attributes as things he aspired towards.
He was the kind of person I thought I wanted to be.
What kind of person is that?
Possessed of an encyclopedic knowledge of the law, razor-sharp litigator, a genuine leader, an awesome ability to illuminate the most complex of legal concepts to colleagues, courtrooms, and I thought he was gay.
According to Frank's testimony, he had leprosy at the time and looked exactly the same. Suddenly, Big Boss Man steps in, hoping to bribe the judge into the right decision.
Here you go, Judge. It's a bear claw. They use real maple syrup, you know.
And right here, he's showing his age a bit. You can't use a bear claw alone to bribe judges these days. You need a bear claw, coffee, and if you really want to seal the deal, a cute tumbler, or bribe their wife, or whatever they did for the Clarence Thomas family. Do that. Truly erratic, though not shown through his expressions, Gary agrees to the terms of the kidnapper to get his mom. He puts his boss on the case to stall them until he can get both his mom and his mojo back.
Mr. Harrison, aren't you going to approach the witness? What for? To question him. No, I'm good.
There's a series of requests Johnny and his cat give Gary in order to get his mom back. It's just like go from one location to the next and answer a phone call to get the next instructions and repeat. Like the Victor Zsasz phone missions in Arkham City, except without knocking out the guy who made you run all over the city for nothing.
Don't be afraid.
Back in court, the liver situation has come up again.
If I love liver!
That wasn't love! That was a tawdry affair!
You're not gonna tell me I didn't love that liver!
Gary enters into the sketchy building, and this time, the plan isn't with a sledgehammer. It's with this Looney Tunes-ass stone block. Johnny drops it on the rat and his mother, only for the exterminator to find out they escaped. How did they make this miraculous escape? She dug a tunnel.
Meow.
How could I know she dug a tunnel?
Meow.
I can do things right.
A very small and narrow tunnel, clawing through metal or wood or whatever this floor is made of, somehow. Is she human? Is she a rat? Is she a goddamn Pokemon? In the darkness of the tunnel, we finally get to hear her speak, but aren't able to see her. We never get to see her in this show, actually. The voice actor for this character is freaking Betty White, too, which is just kind of incredible. The best part about this episode.
Good idea to make a tunnel. Did they hurt you?
You look thin.
I'm eating lots of cheese.
It's about time you came to visit.
Short but sweet, Mom. I have to go back to a court case. I'm sure you'll find your way out.
Gary,
Yes, Mother.
I'm proud of you.
I wish I could say the same. Gotta go.
Back in court,
That is why there is no possible reason Lee Harvey Oswald could have acted alone.
Gary returns and has his edge back. Although it didn't really seem like he lost it, but yeah, he got it back. He asked Frank if he ever told Walter he was a leper. Frank says nah, because you don't bring your personal life into the firm. You're not even supposed to have one.
You don't bring your personal life into a law firm. You're not supposed to have a personal life, really.
Lawyers, sound off in the comments. Do you have a life? Frank was even going to tell Walter about how he was a leper, but something at the tennis court happened.
Frank, did I ever tell you I hate lepers and that I would never hire one?
Blatant discrimination. Again, it's the worst when it slips out by accident. Gary then asked the judge if Frank can show his nose to the court. They tried to object, stating that the nose would unfairly influence the jury. And Gary comes back with a fire response.
If Frank was forced by his illness to use a wheelchair, would the defense ask him to park it outside? We're talking about leprosy. We're talking about loss of limbs. Let's see what we're talking about.
This is actually a pretty valid objection. At this moment, the lawyer is objecting to taking off his nose because it would prejudice the jury. They don't need that to make a decision. I personally would throw in a relevance objection as well, but that's just me, and I'm no lawyer.
Frank unthreads his nose and shows it to the court. However, this unthreading has started a domino effect. Frank is going to fall to pieces in a matter of moments.
Don't be afraid.
These closing arguments gotta be quick. We find out that Frank won 97% of the cases he was involved in, which is a pretty insane win percentage. And it goes directly against what Walter used as an excuse before.
So you see, Judge, my client was an outstanding lawyer.
I won 97% of all the cases I was involved in.
He won cases. What more does a lawyer have to do?
We find out that despite the fatality of a closing argument Gary delivered, the defining factor in their victory was the bear claws given by the boss.
They use real maple syrup, you know.
I guess I don't know that much about bribing. I'm gonna have to go back to school for this one. This is a textbook misunderstanding. After the trial, we get a cool little quid pro quo moment.
Thanks, Andrews.
Quid pro quo, Frank. Now you give me what I need to win the construction case.
It'd be my pleasure.
As Gary gets Frank to agree to let his firm win the construction case. A little, you scratch my back. I let the construction company put toxic fumes into the air, causing kids that breathe it in to develop cancer 30 years from now at an escalated rate, allegedly.
Perspective, Andrews, perspective.
This is usually the part where I point out some important moral to the episode, but not this time. I'm gonna keep it simple. Love your mom if she's cool and not a dick. Don't discriminate against people who are like different than you, like obviously.
Frank, did I ever tell you I hate lepers and that I would never hire one?
Hey, boy, ain't no fucking way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Let me know if I should talk about more Gary the Rat episodes. This is definitely a show that has been kind of lost to time.
You're gay.
Yeah, and you're a rat. Who's worse off?
That's a tough one.
I've been Witty G. Be happy, be healthy, and be kind to someone. And I'll see you later.